watching Hellbent Holler live, part of the Hellbent Media Network. Grab a drink, settle in, and get ready for the show.
We're just going to start without Joe because it's already, 7 past. So we're going to go ahead and start without Joe. He had a work call, so he is taking care of that. So it's just me right now. So it's just Jesse. We'll just hide that Joe part over there in that. So it's Jesse solo right now. He'll be in here in a few minutes. I'm sure everybody's enjoying that club music. One of my favorite parts of you guys remember the movie Blade? It's one of my favorite movies. Um, Actually, I better ask if you guys can hear us. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Give me one. Doot, 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 doot. Let me know you can hear me, and then we'll. All good. Great. All right. So let me get back on that. One of my favorite movies is Blade, and like one of the best scenes and like just cool quintessential 90s horror movies is that opening scene at the beginning of Blade where they go into the vampire nightclub and they're playing that music and the blood comes down from the water sprinklers and it's bloodbath. So that's one of like the most iconic 90s action horror movie moments is that. So we always try to find for this show, for the Monday Lives, we always try to find music that kind of reminds us of that. Like, what would we hear and what would we listen to if we were in the vampire nightclub of Blade? So there you go, a little insight on that. So we all got our vampire nightclub music. All right, yes. So I have new hair. I got a haircut and I got rid of the blonde. And I love it. Very happy with it. Got my Joan Jett look here. Got my evil David Bowie of Labyrinth look here, but I love it. I dig it. It's sort of a mullet shag mix here, and I'm here for it. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm gonna go through the chat here and get started. Um, we have been we have been MIA for a couple of weeks because we have both been so sick. We both had the flu, and then this latest bout I had, which was last week, I had a respiratory infection and an ear infection, and I went through a course of antibiotics, and I'm still deaf in my left ear, which is not good. So I'm probably gonna have to go to a specialist, and hopefully I don't lose my hearing in my left ear. That would be bad. So that is an update on us. But we're so happy to be back. And it seems like a lot of crazy crap has gone on with everything. It's like we clicked over to 2024 and all hell broke loose. Cat Williams broke the internet. That's a great interview if you haven't seen it yet. We've got the mall aliens of Miami, which we're going to discuss that a little bit later. Joe's like obsessed with this story right now, and I am. We got all kinds of crazy stuff. We did definitely started 2024 hitting the ground running, and Hellbent Holler is going to be hitting the ground running with our work as well. So it's par for the course that is just how it is. I actually on Joe and I's first lunch, and it started like pouring, like downpouring rain. And so Joe went to go get the car, and I was standing out front of Portico. And who's the guy that plays Deacon Frost? It's slipping my mind right now. Well, that guy was out there with me smoking a cigarette. So he's very small. He's like my size, a little tiny. He's like a little Deacon icicle, is what he is. So, all right. So we're going to. Yeah, Joe's wearing his cloak of invisibility. It's so weird being deaf in one ear. I'm not a fan. All right. All right. I'm going to start going through the chat. It is cool to have all you guys here. It's really cool to be back on the air and talking to y'all and getting back into the swing of things. So today, well, I'll actually talk about a little bit about this, and then Joe will probably pop in, hopefully, sometime soon. This week, we actually went and met up with a witness. We were fielded this witness by Jeremiah of Bigfoot Society. He's thrown us a couple of people that are within a distance of us that we can kind of talk to and maybe investigate what they're doing. So he's been, because a lot of people have been contacting him through his Bigfoot Society channel, emailing him with encounters and basically just asking him, what do we do? Like, what can I do? How am I crazy? Is what I'm experiencing out of the realm of possibility? And Jeremiah gets contacted constantly. So he was kind enough to actually field us some of these witnesses. And we went out and met one of these witnesses this week. And we had an absolute blast. This guy is so freaking cool. We just had such a great time going out there and exploring these areas where this gentleman has had these experiences. He's had Sasquatch experiences for years now at this point, and he took us to all these different locations that he frequents very often. And I have to say that they did not disappoint. They did not disappoint whatsoever. We went out to a couple of these locations and we took our full load out. We took all of our tech. We took our thermals. We took our parabolic. We took everything because we wanted to get out there and get a really good scout of this area. It's very remote. It's beautiful. And especially during the winter, you can just look out and see these beautiful rolling hills. You're on one of the tallest mountains in the area for what we were doing. And so you just look out and you can just see on every direction. It was just gorgeous. It's such a beautiful, wild area. And you can totally see how something could go into that area and really not make any contact with humans whatsoever. What butts up to that area is public land, national forest land, and we're talking about tens of thousands of acres of national forest land. So this is really, really, really wild terrain, and it's really rough terrain in some areas. Well, he goes out there on a regular basis, just he and his dog, and they go out there and he picks up litter and kind of, goes hiking, but he's in the area a lot. And what I've found is that if you're somebody that has kind of a good energy about you, you give off a good vibe, a good energy, and then you're in an area repeatedly and you have some sort of routine that you go through, that you're there a lot, you're there consistently over and over and over again, that whatever these things are, these things that live in the woods, whether it be Sasquatch or something else, it seems like these things kind of get used to you and they're used to who you are. And then the more and more you go out there, the more they kind of show themselves to you. Now, sometimes you can go out there and hear things or see things by happenstance. There's a lot of incidents of that. But I think with areas like this, it helps that this gentleman goes out there and he just goes out and picks up litter, takes care of the area, really cares about the environment, the area, and the whole forest. And he actually puts in work to make sure that it is a nice place and it isn't littered by careless human beings. I think that is why he's had the experiences that he's had at this point. So he took us out there and we went to all these cool locations. And he is very familiar he has a forestry degree, and he's very familiar with the forest and what's common in the forest. He's a big hiker, and he keeps showing us these tree structures. And we have not really put a lot of meaning behind tree structures up to this point. It's not been something that we've really hardcore looked at. Just here and there, we'll see something really. Oh, Joe's here. Hello, Joe. Joe, you're going to have to check out the chat because I've just been talking and I've not looked at the chat at all. So he can check out the chat and I'm going to keep talking. So,
what the hell, people?
Indy Southpaw, thank you.
Sort of stuff that happens when I'm not here on the damn show. So,
the
hell are you in here doing for these people?
Well, look at the hair. I'm a wild woman now.
Good Lord. Thank you for that, Indy.
Rock and roll hairstyle.
That's awesome because I don't know if Jesse's gotten this far, but I
haven't. No, I kind of gave some exposition. We'll get to that in a second.
We got to replace a bunch of equipment after this past weekend. So, so that comes in handy. Thank you for that.
So I was just giving a little bit of exposition of this gentleman took us to these locations where he picks up litter. He's got an insanely zen, calm caring, like good energy about
Most
it.
observant person I've ever met in my entire life.
Absolutely.
He's a forester. And
He's got a forestry degree,
and it's just I've never seen anybody that can be standing there going, "Oh, well, do you see that red oak next to that white pine 100 yards from here?" And I'm going, I can't even see trees at this distance, man. But he's insanely observant, which became very apparent when we were there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And he's somebody who's been in the forest his entire life, and he is just now seeing something that is out of the ordinary. And what we mean by that is these tree structures. And we have really not put a lot of looking into or care or attention to tree structures up until this point. Just here and there, we'll find something that seems anomalous. We'll film it, photograph it, and say, okay, that seems anomalous. This is weird. We often see those X's in certain areas, but not in certain areas. But we're not super into the tree structure thing.
But he's so damn observant.
He's so observant.
He'll go, this is how this is weird, and this is why. And then I stand there and look at it, and I go, you're exactly right. This is extremely strange. Areas where there's trees, if it's wind or anything like that, they'll generally blow and go down in the same direction, forming patterns in the way that they're down. This is an area that doesn't really get a lot of snow or hardly any snow sometimes. So a little dusting of it, but nothing bad. So it's not the snow load making them break. The one that I saw in that cut as we were leaving, the live tree that was broken from about 10 feet down.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I'm standing there looking at it going, all right, I'm not a tree structure guy. I dismiss a lot of tree structures. I dismiss a lot of this stuff. And I'm looking at it going, there's legit no way that this naturally happened. Unless somebody brought some equipment down here into this little valley. This is anomalous. So anyway.
Wait, we were freezing. I don't know if this is working. Buffering. Lost the feed. Sorry, guys. Crap.
I think we're back on right now. So.
Are we? Sorry. I was just talking. I wasn't looking down. It's back. All right.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so behind. I wasn't looking at this. I was talking. So
that's okay.
So
anyway, so I don't know what all you told them, but
so let me get back onto this. Right. If you'll check that while I'm talking.
Gotcha.
Can you do that?
I can do that.
10-4. Okay. Anyway, so like Joe said, this guy is so familiar with the woods. He's so familiar with the environment. He grew up in this area. He's been there his entire life. And he's just now kind of seeing this kind of stuff, that this is something out of the ordinary. So that was amazing to us. And he's actually, we have a lot to learn from this guy in terms of just a lot of this learning and understanding the forest language, of like, what is the forest telling you?
For that particular area, he's as keyed in as a human being could be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he's in that particular stretch of woods. I don't want to say daily, but damn near daily. He's in there a lot. He might even be on the chat tonight. He might even be watching the show. I don't know. But it's going to be a good back and forth of information for it. So, and what's even cooler about all this is that, and we haven't really explored a lot of this yet, but we go up there knowing that he's having some weird activity in the woods around his house, and he's seen some weird activity in other places. Now, obviously, we can't discuss the location. I'm sure you told him that, or his name. He wants to stay anonymous and all that. But,
and also, this is our preliminary. This was our initial trip out there. This was our scouting trip. This was just kind of like an overview. And I told them that we brought all of our equipment. We brought our parabolic, we brought our thermals, we brought everything.
So
sensor tech, all of that stuff. We even had an incident with the infrasound detection equipment that was very strange that you can get into in a little bit.
How this evolved is that we went up there thinking typical Bigfoot stuff, but then other elements started to get peppered throughout his account. The fact that he had an experience elsewhere, and then it's almost like the activity, I don't want to say followed him home, but the activity ramped up around his property at his home after he had an encounter somewhere else. He had some weird stuff happen somewhere else. Blue orbs, which are always if you follow the UAP phenomenon, they tell you when you see a blue orb, run, because those are the ones that are physically destructive. He had some physical symptoms after some of his experiences up through there. And he's heard on 2 separate occasions the metallic sound that seems to come from nowhere, but it's always accompanied by other weird activity. So it started to kind of branch off beyond a simple just, hey, there's Bigfoot on my property or Bigfoot in this stretch of woods, right? So it I think it's got the potential to be a lot weirder than what we went in expecting it to be. So,
yeah. And you try not to go in with too many expectations about what you're going to experience, what you're going to see, what the witness is going to tell you. But it definitely, we're so excited about this. And like I said, this is the initial look at it. And I took a lot of photos with my new camera, and I'm actually going to share some photos with you guys. I shared them with the members earlier today. So they'll have those to look at and kind of take a look at on a regular basis. But I'm going to share those photos with you guys on the show tonight of a very interesting tree structure that this man discovered. And it's pretty weird.
Marcus just asked about the metal door closing. Yeah, that sound that shows up in the Tom Mezek case. Martin Groves is in here. I saw him earlier. The sound that showed up in his experience that he had, it shows up in other stuff, but he's reported that twice now. This weird metallic crash noise that seems to come out of nowhere, but it's while they're having other activity go on, or it precedes other activity that goes on there. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see how that goes. And the one area we went to with him, it's pretty rough terrain, man. It's a lot of up and down. We got rained on like constantly. The one area is extremely interesting because it sounds like, I make this comment all the time, it sounds like freaking Jurassic Park up in there, man. Correct?
Yeah, so, we actually got some audio. We actually got some cool audio.
Yeah.
We deployed the parabolic, which of course, we're trying to use the parabolic, and there's like leaf matter everywhere.
Raining. We got rained on a lot. We got soaked. When it wasn't even really a rain, it was like a real thick mist, kind of constant drizzle. But we ended up losing one of our thermal imagers. So
the FLIR Scout TK is no more.
It's cut out. So
I looked. So apparently this is supposed to be waterproof
to 3 feet
to 3
something
feet.
like that. So
no,
not the case. So ND Southpaw, thank you. That was well timed.
We were in just heavy mist. We were in like heavy mist.
But everything was drenched.
Everything was drenched because it had rained and rained and rained prior to that. It kind of rained off and on, and then mist. A lot of our stuff is not weatherproof because it's sensor tech and stuff like that.
You got to let some stuff in order to be able to sense it. So,
but when I went to turn this bad boy off, the underneath the glass under the eyepiece was full of water. So it just got a ton of moisture in it, and she's done. He's dead, Jim.
We're veering real quick off to the side. Suki, my husband and his brother saw a bunch of blue orbs in a cornfield, and then saw a bunch of creatures he said looked like kangaroos, and the face and head running on 2 legs. You've got to email us about this.
Yes, I want to hear about this.
If you watch some of the main players in like the UFO, UAP field, the ones that are looking into physical effects that people have after like UAP encounters, all of them go, if you see the blue orbs, you need to run, because there have been weird little hints that they've dropped. Colm Kelleher, who was one of the original Skinwalker Ranch guys, made just a little throwaway comment one time going, they cause bad physical effects. They incinerate animals. And I'm going, they incinerate animals? Why is nobody just stopping the conversation right then and there and going, whoa, forget all this other stuff. Incinerated animals? Now there's a story, there's an old story that's associated with the original Skinwalker thing. Okay. Pre-TV show, that talked about a person that either lived there or on an adjacent property would see these blue orbs, and his dogs took after them one time. And he heard a weird noise and came around and basically found burn marks where his dogs used to be. And I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. I don't know. He made it, the inference he made is that it had happened several times though. So the blue orbs, but with kangaroos in the face and the head running on 2 legs. Almost sounds like Dogman. Dogman's got that sound.
You immediately went to that. Is there an escaped kangaroo possibility when we were at the LBL?
Yeah, when I caught that thing on thermal, that was one of
Yeah.
the things I went to because I'm looking at it going, all right, well, it looks like this. It's too big for a coyote. It's elongated. The ears are way oversized. And then I'm thinking and going, what else has like a snout and stands upright and has big ears? I thought kangaroo.
Yeah.
I mean, I even like looked around to see if I could find reports of like a kangaroo escape, but like a regional zoo or anything like that. That might have
The great
explained
kangaroo cover up.
And yeah, exactly. So
Sugi follows up to that and says it was near Armagh, PA. The landlord told them when they moved in not to go outside after 8 p.m. So do you pay your deposit and then you're moving in? They're like, oh, by the way,
all
don't
right,
go
paperwork
outside.
signed, did the check clear? All right, by the way, don't go
Don't
outside.
go outside past 8 p.m.
Suki, if you want to, that's wild. I want to hear more about this.
I do want to hear more
I
about
want to hear
this
more
too.
about this. I'm
It's
intrigued.
pretty wild.
I think everybody wants to hear more about this. So
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tracy Kane. That's going into the Replace Equipment Fund. I don't even know if all of our digital recorders made it out okay because we're hearing weird stuff, and normally we wouldn't deploy them like we did in the weather. And it wasn't like downpouring, but like Jesse said, it was a constant, really heavy mist, so everything's like soaked. If you pick up something, it's just drenched. It looks like you just dipped it in a bucket. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much for that, Tracy.
Encrypted Connection says, just spoke with someone who heard the metallic sound during a night when they had some strange stuff going on. Weird, just weird.
That metallic, all right, hold on. Michael talks about, that's the Tom Mezek case. That Tom Mezek case is in the Missing 411, The Hunters. And it's been going on for a while, and it's cross spectrum. People hear it with UFO encounters. People hear it generally in those close encounters of like the third where they see the entities. You know what I'm saying? So they see it with that. They see it in Bigfoot encounters, but it doesn't quite make its way into the usual conversation about Bigfoot. Like the BFRO is not going to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, the Bigfoot seem to be associated with this metallic sound.
I wonder how many people who've had Sasquatch encounters have actually heard that and not made that connection or even expressed that they heard that to who they were discussing their encounter with.
Well, you also hear it with Dogman encounters. Okay, Martin Groves heard it. Other people have reported hearing it. You hear it a lot of times with poltergeist activity as well. Now, there's another thing too that's in European folklore. It's called the wild hunt. And there's just several different regional variations of that on what causes it, what comprises it. But basically just think like this. You're out in a field in the middle of the night and you hear this crazy metallic crashing sound. And then just a ragged mob on horseback goes over your head. Okay. Odin led it. And certain like friar, like a monk basically, who was damned. Another one, it's like a huntsman. But one of the things that's consistent with all of them is the sound that it makes, this cacophony above them. And I always wondered, is there a connection between whatever the phenomenon was that caused stories of the wild hunt to originate and spread and the sound that people hear in modern times? So there's a historic precedence for this sound, and it fascinates me. So
Mark Webster asks, what do you think the metallic sound is? There's been speculation that it's a portal opening, that it is maybe a physical craft. We're talking about possible interdimensional UAPs or something like that, and that it's actually like a physical crash from a door opening and closing on some sort of physical craft. Or people are talking about it might be just an explosion of electricity or energy from a portal opening up. This is just speculation.
Here's the deal. There's not a lot of photographic or video evidence of any of this stuff. Remember the sky trumpets?
Yes.
Okay, the sky trumpets that were big, like, what was that, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago? I don't know. I lose track of time. And that seemed like that was a legit phenomenon that then people basically started to fake, do their pump in like noises over like whatever. And it'd be somebody standing there going, oh my Lord, listen to these trumpets coming out of the air. And then there'd be trumpets playing, but then there's like people walking by like 20 feet away who are obviously not hearing anything at all. Okay. So, but there was I think the early reports of that might have been legit, but my point is that you don't really see videos or hear audio of people who capture that. Okay. At least I haven't seen any. There might be out there. I'm just unaware of it. So I've talked in the past about that Frey effect, microwave auditory hallucinations, where people get hit with. Started off with technicians who were servicing radar setups in like post World War II fighter planes. Okay, and
they exhibited strange behavior.
No, what would happen is they would turn the radar on for testing, and the technicians would get hit with it, and they would hear this weird metallic sound in their head. So I'm kind of on the fence that I don't even know whether it's like an audible noise at all, or it might be this microwave auditory effect where you're hearing the noises in your head, the parts of your brain that process auditory signals and convert it to sound that you hear. That there's no exterior cause of it. You're just hearing it in your head because you're getting hit with electromagnetic fields, microwaves, something like that at that point. So that's my pet theory is the people that are reporting that are being exposed to some sort of weird energy, which might tie in with the portal thing.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Catherine Gay, for that super sticker.
Thank you, Catherine
Gay.
Appreciate
that. Good to see you, my dear. She said she's prepping up for this bad weather tomorrow.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get hit. So
I'm not looking forward to that. Miranda Crew, what is your opinion on Barton Nunnally? Put the video of possible porter and creature.
We have to be. We saw the video today because I haven't talked to Barton. I don't know what we're about a post, but so I don't know what we should say. Let's just say this: that all of us have looked at that very closely
prior to this,
and I don't see a debunking going on. There were some people complaining online earlier. I traded a quick text with Barton earlier while I was at work. Just some people were going, oh, it's a hand. I see it on a cell phone. That's where they were recording the screen. The lady that Barton's dealing with is not very technically savvy. So I got to pop out TikTok.
Oh, that's fine. So we've seen the video before, and I don't have an explanation for what's in the video. The video that he published on his channel, you've got a little bit of a reflection where they're filming the video on a screen. And I think that's what some people are seeing when they say it's a reflection of a hand. I think that you're seeing some reflections of where they're filming a screen. You kind of got to get past the fact that they're filming a screen of this video. I've seen a higher definition version of the video than was presented on his channel, and I don't know what that is. I've looked at it. I've raised the exposure on it, up the contrast on it, slowed it down, zoomed in on it, and I don't know. It's pretty weird. It's definitely a strange piece of evidence, but I don't know. But I just get so frustrated with anybody who right out the gate is just trying to debunk whatever anything is without taking a real look at it. That was not a high definition version of the original video, which I have seen. And I looked at that pretty extensively, and I don't know. It's very strange. I'm just going to go with that it's a very odd video. And I've looked at it pretty extensively. So very odd. I'm very aware of the bones vibrating in the ears, Saban. I have no vibrating going on over here. I'm deaf in my left ear as of right now. So hopefully that goes away. So let's see. I'm just scrolling through the chat. Joe had to take another call for work. Missouri Broad says Scott Carpenter's portal video is very interesting too. What's interesting is our witness that we spoke to this week. He was very interested in that. And I think that starting to look into what he was possibly experiencing in terms of Bigfoot has allowed him to kind of grow in what he sees as a possibility. He mentioned this to me directly. Scott Carpenter initially was more into the idea that these are just natural animals or something flesh and blood that exists in our common reality. And it seems like Scott Carpenter's opinion and theories on the whole subject evolved over time. And I think that that is a great way to approach the subject, is when you're presented with new information or new experiences, that you evolve your view of this. And it seems like our witness this week had that kind of revelation as well. And the more you think about, if you've had these experiences or seen these things, the more you think about what you've experienced, how can this be just some basic monkey that's not discovered running through the woods? That there's way more to this phenomenon. So Jason Chris Horrell says, Jesse, is there any way that you could show the original video on your channel? That's not my video to show. So no, I'm not going to show that video because it's not my video to show. That is Barton's case and that's Barton's video. So no, that's going to be for Barton to do. So I'm not going to be showing his stuff. Encrypted Connections is the video on Barton's channel. Yes, he just released this video. But it looks pretty freaking weird. It looks weird. And I've looked at this video over and over again. And I looked at it a while back when he initially was sent the video by this witness. And it's weird. It's so weird. But I don't know. It's almost beyond like any kind of like realm of comprehension of what it could be. So I'm looking at it and it's an odd one. And Barton says he's going to talk about it Wednesday. Yeah. And he's going to talk about it some more. He kind of gave some commentary on it in the video. Go over there after the show and take a look at that video. But when you're watching it, just keep in mind, it's not a direct version of it that's edited into a larger video. It's a filming of a screen of the video going. So you're going to have a little bit of reflection there from the camera facing a screen that's on there. And that's what frustrated me. Is like people in the comments were making comments about that. And I'm like, that's not the video. That's a video of the video. That's not what's actually happening. That's not what's actually happening in the video. So stop, doing that. Kentucky Boy 22, how can anybody debunk that video? They will try to debunk anything, like anything. There's a pervasive problem right now within anything paranormal, is you have a large group of people who they are career debunkers and they claim they are very interested in the subject. And I understand that you get frustrated about hoaxes and stuff like that. But when like all you want to do is debunk everything and shit on everybody, then what is your purpose there? What are you contributing to any of this? There's a lot of people that it just seems like the subject itself just brings them nothing but misery. And they don't do field research. I've never seen anything presented by them. They don't produce any content in terms of video of anything. They don't make anything. They don't create anything. They just skip ahead and take the mantle of the expert of the situation and then just crap on anybody who presents anything. I think part of what we need to do is look at evidence that is presented, have these discussions, and have them in an open forum and not just, I don't know. Joe and I are very frustrated with this weird, lazy segment of this whole phenomenon of people that look into this, who they don't do anything. They don't leave their house. They sit on the computer all day. And then anybody who uses the wrong terminology for a Wendigo or something like that, they just jump down their throat and act like total D-bags. So I think going into 2024, I think it's really important that if you're interested in this subject and those people treat you like crap, just ignore them, because some of them can't even feed themselves or take care of themselves, but then they want to tell you what to think, what to believe, and what you have experienced, and then police your language. So going into 2024, let's tell them to F off, because you need to do this for yourself. This is your own thing. If you're interested in this, don't be discouraged by people like that, because people like that have no power over you. They have no power over anything. They have no power over themselves most of the time. So just ignore them and pursue this in your own way, and pursue truth in your own way, and ignore them as much as humanly possible. So that's my rant for now, because it is frustrating. And I've just been rambling instead of looking at the chat. I know. What the Flock says, it's always good to be open-minded to all possibilities. Yeah, and listen, if something gets debunked, it gets debunked. That's fine. There's going to be hoaxes. There's going to be stuff that is misinterpreted. There's going to be things that you look at it and you're like, oh, this has got to be this. And then somebody mentions something to you and it gives you a different perspective. And you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. But you have to have some humility and be humble to the point that you can say, okay, yeah, you're right. But this just instant, just crapping on people, man. Get a life. Get a life. Did I get fired up? Was I mad there? This rock and roll hair is giving me the power. I ought to get Joe to get the He-Man hair. I think that would be great. Martin Groves has a good point here. Barton's video is prelude to what's coming all over this world. You all know that I'm a huge fan of Art Bell. I'm probably going to eventually have like an Art Bell shrine in my house. I love Art Bell. I listen to Art Bell every day. I feel like he's just with me every day. He wrote a book. He wrote two books, actually. He wrote Art of the Talk, where it was like a self, an autobiography, talks about his, career and his life and everything like that. He wrote another book called The Quickening. And he calls this The Quickening because he felt like something was ramping up. You've got ecological disasters. You've got people kind of going crazy, a rise in violence, a rise in just psychotic behavior. And he would flip if he saw what was going on around us right now. But what he was talking about with the quickening was an increase in activity, a thinning of the veil, that we're going to start seeing more and more of this strange phenomenon exposing itself to us, that maybe the lines between our worlds are blurring, that maybe they're crossing into each other, that the veil is thinning, whatever kind of terminology you want to use for it, and that maybe it's coming to some sort of culmination. I think that Art thought that the culmination would happen a lot quicker than it did, or it has. I mean, we haven't even come to a culmination at this point, as far as I know. I know that we're having reports of aliens in malls in Miami, but I think we're still ramping up, even though things seem like they're going exponentially. Look at the vastness of time and how this period of time is so small and insignificant on the main timeline there. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to get real freaking crazy over the next few years. Maybe it's going to get completely insane within my lifetime, but not come to a culmination even within the next 100 years. I don't know. It seems like we went from 30 years ago that you barely heard about anything like this, or people didn't really talk about stuff like this. And then now it's everywhere. It's all of this stuff going on. And I don't know if part of it is because people are able to communicate more. People are more open to strange things because they're able to connect with other people who have had experiences via the internet. If it's shows like this who expose people to these ideas, and then once they are exposed to these ideas, maybe you look at the phenomenon and then the phenomenon starts to look back at you. I don't know. There could be a lot of contributing factors to what is ramping up all of this stuff. It could be some sort of tulpa effect where our whole collective unconscious is building and building. And there's a huge power in the collective unconscious. There are things that our brains can do that, if unlocked, it would be insane. There's things that we are able to do, but we've lost that ability. We're a species with a total amnesia of our abilities and who we are and our past and what we're capable of. So it's hard to just assume that this is it. We are the wisest we have ever been. We're the smartest things. We're the smartest generation of people. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We've forgotten more than we'll ever know at this point. I'm sorry. I am not even in the chat. I'm just rambling. Get fired up. That's why I need Joe here to be my chat mod here and take a look at this. Cryptid connections. Yeah, and this is back on my initial rant about people who are just stewing in their own misery. They bring nothing to the subject matter. Nothing. Like, what have you produced? What have you, show your work at some point. And just because somebody, even if showing your work, even just because somebody has a YouTube channel, just because somebody wrote a book, anybody can write a book. It's not that hard to write a book. Anybody can write a book. That doesn't give them some sort of, status over you. That doesn't make them better than you. That doesn't make them more knowledgeable or wise in any kind of way. So just kind of take what a lot of these people, even us, with a grain of salt. Understand that you going through this, your experiences, how you're learning about this stuff, where you learn about this stuff, what you're going through in the process of your evolution of theory and thought, that's on you. That's your journey. And it shouldn't be totally guided by one person or another. And it shouldn't absolutely be shut down by some miserable person on Facebook. So I'm going through here. Joe wanted to go on this rant. We were talking about this today. What the vlog says, his sister just does this all. She'd be a great debunker. Here's another good point. Bell City Girl says, perhaps debunkers are government not wanting people to know the truth. Now, in the 1960s, there was all these like UFO groups, and they were like local groups that would meet at libraries and coffee shops, and people would share theories and evidence and have these discussion groups. They would do book clubs. There were these groups, and they really did a lot of really amazing work through the 60s as best as they could with the resources that they had at that time. There has been proof that the government, the CIA, actually sent in disinformation agents to go into these groups and shake them up, cause a lot of problems, cause people to turn on each other. Because if there's any sort of like collective that may be working together and actually getting some headway on the subject, they got to stop that. They got to put a stop to that. So what's the best way to do that but sow the seeds of discontent between these people? So that is totally possible. LW Marshall says, I wish 2024 would see the end of name calling and ad hominem attacks. Well, we're people. Nobody's going to stop that. It's just, human beings are going to do that. They're going to bicker. Just ignore it. Lady Wolf, this is a good question. Tell us more about the person you enjoy dealing with. How long has he dealt with activity? What kind of activity? Various cryptid sightings. It seems like right now it's just a Sasquatch-centric situation. It looks like it's just kind of, I hate to say just Sasquatch because there's no just Sasquatch about it. There have been possible lights seen. So that's not, just Sasquatch. You don't ever want to put just, oh, it's just this, it's just that. Because from our experience, when you start looking into this phenomenon and you think it's one thing, all of a sudden evidence of other things start popping up. And then it just gets more and more complex as it goes. So right now it's, I guess, classic Sasquatch activity that this gentleman is experiencing. It's these tree structures are pretty wild. I actually have some photos. I mentioned that earlier. I have some photos that I took of one of these, which is really weird. It's not particularly large, but it's very intricate. It's very strange. There's a lot of features to this that are very, very weird. And I'll probably actually go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and do that while we're waiting on Mr. Joseph to come back up in here. So I'm going to cue that up, and then we'll take a look at those, and you can let me know what you think. Let me know. Can I? Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. Cool beans. All right. So I'm going to open this up. We're going to open all these up. And we're going to take a look at them. There's 5 photos. Like I said before, I shared these with our members, our channel members. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, there are links on literally every one of our videos. So if you're interested in becoming a channel member and getting early access to expedition photos, you have videos that are for members only. We released one last week that was members only. It was actually our insane hike out at that old abandoned cemetery. We had an insane hike out, and we filmed the whole thing. There was a lot of different sounds that we experienced out there that were almost a little wilder than what we got in the Fear Itself video, which was actually at the cemetery. I'm going to open all these in a new window. That way we can just jam right through them. Got one more. All right, kids. All right, I'm going to pull these bad boys up. And then let's take a look. I'm not looking at the chat because I can't. So I'm going to do this, and then we'll just start going through the chat whenever Joe is able to join us and start doing that. So this is what you get. This is what you get. All right, I'm going to hide this. We're going to do a little screen share. Okay. Are we ready? Let's do it. Okay. Okay, guys, here we go. Take a little looky-loo here. All right, so what we have here is an overview of the tree structure. So I'm going to give you a little context of what we're looking at here. The witness described actually this tree structure is near his property, that he discovered it. And there was one feature about it that was very, very strange. There's a couple features about it that are very strange. So one of which being the root ball itself on the center tree. And can you see this here? Let's do this. Let's make this like big time. Can I? No, I failed. Oh yeah, there we go. Cool. All right. Sure. If you'll look here, this is an overview of the whole structure. We're going to zoom in here and take a little look at it here. This is an overview of the whole structure. Right there in the center is an upright tree. So at the bottom of that tree is a root ball. I took a photo of that. I took a couple photos of that we're going to look at in a second. And you can take a look at it and see what I'm talking about. It looks like this tree, which has a circumference of about 9.5 inches, a diameter of about 3.5 inches, was pulled out of the ground, roots and all. There's no shovel marks on it. And it was just pulled directly out of the ground. And that is the centerpiece for the structure. The height on the structure is approximately 15 feet tall. So where these are all gathered together at the top, which I have a photo of that, that's 15 feet up in the air. All right, so this is another angle of the overview of the structure. You can see all of these just put together up here, woven together 15 feet off the ground. You've got 3 trees from the left, and you've got 2 trees from the right in there, and then you have 2 other trees kind of just leaned against those 2. But you have 2 from the right, 3 from the left, and these are all interwoven 15 feet in the air, and they all come together around this center tree, which was pulled right out of the ground. And you can see the root ball right there. I have some really nice close-ups of that as well. So we're going to take a look at that, and you guys can tell me what you think. What I thought was really weird about this was the fact that this was completely not cut by shovels. Look at the length on the roots here. You have this length on these roots. In order to get something like that out, you would have to hydroblast it to get these roots out without damaging them. But all these roots, none of them were cut. None of them are cut. They have all this length to them. They were pulled out of the ground, and it looks like the dirt has just been completely removed off of all of them. Around the area of the tree, you can't see where anything like this was pulled up. So it was obviously taken from another location somewhere in the forest and then placed here. Here's another close up on that root ball. Again, I'm not looking at the chat, guys. Sorry. We will follow up in a second, and we'll get into that. So we're going to look at some of this little root ball here. None of the roots have been cut by shovels. There's no shovel marks where you would dig up this tree. This tree was alive when it was placed here, and there's absolutely no shovel marks or anything. You've got full extended roots that have not been cut or marred by a shovel here. So I thought that was probably one of the weirdest things about this. Now, this is where the trees are interwoven at the top. Again, this is 15 feet in the air, and these trees are just completely interwoven. This is the center tree here, where I'm seeing here, and then you've got 3 from the left, 2 from the right, and all of these trees were bent and interwoven. I think it's pretty freaking weird. I don't know. I thought it was weird. You would have to go to great pains to do something like that. You would have to have multiple people assist you with that, because you're not going to be able to bend over 3 trees from the left, 2 from the right, and then interweave them like this. So not only is the root ball weird to me, the fact that these trees are all held together by each other, and that's it. They're not held together by anything else. There's not another tree on top of them holding them down or anything like that. They're all just interwoven together. And that is one of the strangest things to me, because you would need a huge ladder out there, and you'd need multiple people to do this. This is a side view of how these are interwoven together. And that initial photo that I showed you there was from underneath. So you can actually see how these are interwoven together. And I'll go back to that, and then we'll get back to the chat. I've not dealt with the Joe's back, by the way.
Okay.
I've not dealt with the chat at all.
That's fine.
But you can see how these are interwoven, and that would be quite a feat. So that's just a little sampling of what we have seen over the past week. Not to mention, we got some weird audio out around going out with this gentleman.
Let's back up that tree structure real quick, and I'm sure you went through all of it and showed the photos.
Yeah.
So walking up to it, I'll be honest with you, my initial impression was it's a couple small trees. None of them were that big, you know what I'm saying? So none of them were that large, and then the ones that were bent over were weird. But then when we looked at the one that had been pulled up out of the ground, okay, there's no tool marks. There's no marks that equipment was used. And again, it's not a big tree, but go get like 4 of your best friends and try to just uproot a tree directly out of the ground like that. The only thing that I could think of is that, and the witness mentioned this himself as well, that like hydro excavation, where they had taken like water and literally just shot the dirt around from the roots. You'd have to get a truck back there with its own water, its own power, and all that, and that'd be a little difficult to do. So it's weird. It's very, very weird. It's very you hear about the trees being uprooted and driven in like upside down all the time. And you hear about trees being uprooted. And again, not big, but the fact there's no shovel marks on the roots. I'm sure you covered that, right? None of the roots were really, there was a little bit of damage to some of them you could see where it was just janked out, but most of them just looked like just pulled straight out of the friggin' ground. And I'd even said that there. I said, even if the ground was completely soaking wet here and the soil was soft, me and 4 more people like me could not have done this. So just very odd. And did you mention the fact that it was at the end of the road?
No, I did not.
He's cut a road into the woods there. That's at the very end of the road. All of this takes place, these trees being woven together, and then the one tree that supports it being ripped out and put it right there. I was like, there's some sort of significance that it's at the end of the road like this, almost like it's telling you, I mean, I don't know, you'd be putting your own definition onto something that's not human, but almost like it was just going, don't come any further, you know? I mean, there was some significance of it being at the very end of the road like that. We keep running across things he mentions come in groupings of 3. You notice that too, right?
I didn't mention that. You can go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm going through the chat right now.
A lot of things that he mentioned when we would ask him a little bit more about it happened in groupings of 3 that popped up continually over and over and over again. So whether that's significant or just coincidence, I don't know. Did you put that up for Miss Sherry Griffith?
I did not. I've not gotten there yet.
Thank you for that, Sherry. We love weird and we love.
I went on a rant about the professional debunkers who
on the Miami thing?
On everything.
Oh, okay.
No, just a general thing. And I'm just telling people to kind of follow their own kind of path and just ignore these people who they have contributed nothing.
You stole my rant.
I went on the rant. Everybody loved it. I'm on fire.
Let me throw my 2 cents into that.
The hair has possessed me.
Is that we have met some of the coolest, smartest, most insightful people in the world doing this. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, they're like all cool as hell, right? You know what I'm saying? They're just really cool. They're cool people. They're interesting. They've got like a passion for this. But the thing I noticed during the Miami alien thing was that you had a bunch of people that were really believing it, really pushing it hard and stuff like that. Those were mostly people on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? You know, we saw some TikTok videos of the one TikTok video we saw. The girl realized that
the way you say TikTok.
The TikTok. This girl was from the TikTok, and she was talking about how the coordinates for the Miami Mall, if you flipped the coordinates, they would be for Antarctica. And she thought that these creatures were trying to teleport into an alien base on Antarctica, but they just flipped the coordinates. So they ended up in a Miami Mall instead. And we're going, you expect that sort of thinking from, you know, somebody from TikTok, you know, like a hardcore TikToker. So you had these people that were very bought into the narrative when you didn't have a lot of information. But on the flip side, you had people who personally got upset, it seemed like, on the cryptid side. And you know what? I don't think anybody had enough information when this was coming out, because you were constantly hearing stuff back and forth. But it really dawned on me, and I've known this before, but it dawned on me that there is a certain subset of people that are involved in this sort of thing who are just, it's ego driven for them. You know what I'm saying? And they're not really into it because they like the subject. Quite honestly, they seem like they kind of hate the subject and everybody involved in it, you know, but it's ego. And it's the same stuff that all of us weirdos get from normal people about all of this stuff. Bigfoot, dogman, UFOs, ghosts. Well, that's stupid. We get that enough from like normal people. But there's a group of people that it's an ego-driven thing where I don't think they really even care whether it's true or not. They just want to be in the position of like authority to tell you that it's fake and that you're an idiot for believing it. I saw so many people just act like just a-holes over this. And I'm just going, it's a story that's developing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it hadn't really been debunked at this point. We're not up to date on the most latest stuff because we were out all weekend long. I will say that it was interesting that I saw one tweet, the first guy who was talking about how old ladies was running and everybody. Remember that one? Like the first guy that came out and did a video on it.
He goes, fat chicks and old ladies.
Old ladies, everybody's running. Everybody's running. And he did that video, and somebody tweeted, they were going, I wonder how long it's going to be before we see people start to recant their stories acting weird just like they did on that mountain, the mountain giant thing.
Yeah.
Remember the guy that looked like he was doing like a hostage video?
Yeah,
and then he ended up dead?
Yeah, I was about to say, then he unsubscribed from life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't use that other word, by the way.
Oh, I'm not using the other word, but he ended up, he unsubscribed from life. So they made that tweet, and then I'll be damned, like an hour later, that guy came out going, oh yeah, no, I was just joking around, man. I've never even been to Miami. You guys shouldn't pay any attention to that message I put out earlier. And I'm going, some people are trotting that out as debunking it. Other people are saying, well, you know, they called it. So, but my thing was this, is that I don't know what happened at this point. If the power went out, I could never even confirm that the power was cut to the mall.
Yeah.
At least as of Friday. I can't confirm that the
airspace was shut down. Is that confirmed, or is that?
I don't know that the airport was shut down. The airspace was shut down. Somebody had said that they killed the police scanners, that the police scanners all went dead. And then a dude tweeted, he goes, yeah, all that happened because electronic devices didn't work around these things. They would look at you and everything would stop. Remember that tweet?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching this, and guess what? I'm going, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's misinformation. I don't know what's people just having fun with the story. But it's just like this, like one tweet would come out, and you know, the TikTok people would be like, here you go, it's all true. But then something would come out, and like the people that were so hardcore to debunk it would just latch onto something. And I go, I know you don't want the story to be true, but you can't say it's debunked yet because none of us have enough information to make a call on this. Because I'd have people in the comments when we posted about that tell it's debunked, and I'd go, what are you basing that on? Tell me what you're basing this on.
A lady in Missouri in her kitchen said it's
exactly
it's debunked. So
I don't. But it was just so weird.
Get wise, Joe.
And I'm watching it, and yeah, I think I have the same message you do. That if you're interested in this topic, trust your own instincts. Don't listen to somebody just because they wrote a book or they have a podcast or they do whatever here. Because a lot of times they don't have like the truth at heart or your best interests at heart. They just want to come across like an expert. And I don't think anybody, short of maybe being involved with the police response there, had enough, you know, on scene, had enough information to make a good call.
And even listen, it might be BS. It might be total just internet. Like, hang on, here we go.
Well, I
lost focus on that thing.
So, well, here's
it might
the deal.
be total BS.
I think it's BS that the aliens are using our coordinate system for their teleportation devices, and that one of them just flipped the number, and that's how they ended up in a mall. Okay.
Whoopsie.
That's pretty. That's
they put it wrong in their Garmin.
You know, but here's the deal: just because there's BS statements being made doesn't mean the core story was BS. You know. And
this is an overarching kind of conversation that we're having. We're just using the Miami alien stuff as an example.
There are crazy ass hoaxes that take place in this field every day. And there's real legitimate activity that happens damn near every day. The two are not like mutually exclusive. Just because one thing is just crazy BS doesn't mean that it's all crazy BS. But again, just the people that I'm sitting there looking at these people online, and it's crazy because I right after I did this, I don't do a lot on social media. I like went through and I was like, my Facebook feed, there's a reason why I'm not on here anymore, because it's just hot garbage generally. It's just people on here complaining that all of these idiots they hate everybody that's involved in this field. You know, and I'm just going, some of the smartest stuff we've heard and some of the most insightful stuff we've heard are people in this damn chat, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, people that are just throwing out ideas, and these are people that love the topic and are really, really into it, you know, and that's somebody that's just got like a podcast, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we got a podcast. We don't know what the hell we're doing. So.
I'm going through the chat. I was going to say, Sugi has a interesting tree kind of thing. I can't. Why is this so small? Why am I so blind?
What is going on here? What are you doing?
I've done it now.
Oh my Lord, the show's ruined. Anyway, Sugi says, I'd like someone else to look at the video of the uprooted and shredded tree and tell me what they think could twist a tree that size out of the ground and peel the thing into 3 pieces.
Sugi, if you have that video, send it to our email. And if the file is too large to email, you can go to a website called WeShare, and you just upload it on there, put our email in there, hellbentholler@gmail.com, and you can send us large files via WeShare. You'll get a receipt on there saying when we opened it and we received it. So you can send us a large file via that. Just input your email, our email. You don't even have to sign up for an account with them. And you can send us large files via that website. So if you can't send the file via email because it's too large, you can do it through WeShare. Yeah. And then we'll take a look at that. I'd love to check that out.
somebody had posted a tag, and I've lost it because I'm all over the damn place, about armchair researchers. I'm not even talking about armchair researchers, because we've met people that don't really spend a lot of time in the field that have like an encyclopedia worth of knowledge of like weird stuff that are great resources. But my thing is that we've got to acknowledge that there are a very vocal subset of people in this, let's just call it a community, although I think community is not the right term because there's not a lot of communal behavior in this, but that it's all ego driven, and it's really not even because they like the subject. They just want to call people idiots, and dog on them for like liking stuff, and I guess maybe they don't have a lot going on in their lives, and it just makes them feel better about themselves. They feel like they can speak from a position of importance. I mean, we do this crap all the time, and I don't know, man, we're not experts on it. I mean, we're students of it, but it's just that I don't know, man. It was just so weird. I don't know what it was about the alien mall thing. I guess because on face of it, it's kind of a ridiculous story. It's not what you normally hear,
Yeah.
Although the stories coming out were crazy. The stories coming out were so crazy.
It's exciting.
The first guy who was going.
Now Joe was on. See, I was on fire earlier. Joe is on fire tonight.
I'm on fire now. So
we're both on fire.
People were pulling out their personal weapons, like their concealed carry pistols, engaging these things. Shooting at these things. And that, I mean, it was a crazy story, but at the same token, aliens at the mall in Miami is a little bit more sensational than, I saw a UFO or I had a quick Bigfoot sighting. So I could see why, but here's the other thing too, is that sometimes really sensational stuff happens, Look at the school in Africa where the UFO touched down.
Ariel school?
Yeah, the Ariel school. That's a very sensational story. And it seems to be true. So this stuff does happen. I guess it's just that nobody was really waiting for all the details to come out before they were so quick to debunk it, And
even if it's BS, I just take a moment.
Here's the deal. Everybody's going to get hoaxed. We're going to get hoaxed. People that are involved in this stuff, you're going to get hoaxed. You're going to buy a hoax. That's okay. Yeah. There's been hoaxes going on since the spiritualist movement, back in like the
Fox sisters.
Yeah, the 19th
cracking
century.
Their knuckles.
It happens. And here's the deal, is that just because you're going to get hoaxed every once in a while doesn't mean you just walk into everything expecting a hoax, because you're going to end up overlooking legit activity that happens, and you're going to miss out on that. And it's not going to get explored, especially if that person's so scared to come forward, they're going to get beat up by the friggin', the Facebook cryptid mafia. So
I thought this was funny. That's why I'm going to put this up there. Don't get me wrong. I want it to be aliens. I want them to be here ready to probe and nuke everything. But I just don't think aliens came here to hit the food court.
But here's the deal. And again, I know I take a novel approach on some of this stuff, but let's say.
Oh, you want to hear some theory? I just solved it. Done.
What is it?
It's Miami, right?
Yeah.
Where is Miami?
It's from Florida. I don't know.
Okay. So it's South Florida. It's the South Florida. Okay. Right. What, about 12,500 years ago, what do you think was off the coast of there when the sea levels were lower than they are now? Atlantis, bro.
They do think Atlantis was off the coast, bro. So, all right. Well, here's my deal.
I'm gonna go now. So I solved it.
It's done. We're done.
Yeah, they were coming to it. They were coming to Atlantis.
Let's close the whole damn thing down.
The time-space continuum is a little different.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
They showed up late. They were trying to go with Atlantis. So
we appreciate the people that donated tonight. No refunds, even though it's all done now. So, but my point was this: is that it's in a mall, but you've got creatures that can come through another dimension, and like I've always talked about, I think stuff like that happens, and it has to be intelligently controlled, because it seems to happen only in certain areas at certain times. Maybe it's not intelligently controlled, or maybe their reasoning is just beyond us. And maybe what I'm saying is that if it happens, it's eventually going to happen somewhere like this. It's going to happen somewhere in a mall. It's going to happen somewhere public. And if it happened somewhere public, all right, let's not say a mall in Miami. Let's say a junior league baseball game, and outside of Athens, Georgia, the same thing happens. What's the cover up of that going to look like? You're going to see people attacking people who talk about it online to shut them up. You're going to see conflicting stories giving different narratives hitting the internet almost immediately, because they need to muddy the waters real quick so people don't look into it. And I'm looking at it going, all right, this probably didn't happen. But what is fascinating to me is is that if it did happen and they were trying to cover up, what would we have seen differently on there? You would see authorities laughing about it, kind of like they did after the Phoenix Lights when the governor came out with the guy in the alien costume and they laughed about it, even though he himself had seen the lights. But you're going to see authorities basically laughing about it and minimizing it. You're going to see people online, whether real people or AI bots or whatever, start to aggressively attack and ridicule anybody talking about it whatsoever to shut down the narrative. And that's where I'm going. Now, all of a sudden, it's got the tinge of maybe a possibility to me because this is crazy cover-up behavior we're seeing.
Yeah. Can I offer you a grape in this trying
I will take
time?
a grape in this trying time.
Yeah.
Thank you. But, and it was weird because we don't do a lot of Reddit, but somebody made a comment going, dude, I've never seen any like more aggressive debunkers come out of the woodwork on Reddit, like brand new accounts, everything like that were just with like a lot of vitriol, like attacking people talking about it.
And I want you people to know that I was the one that made the Atlantis connection. So I'm putting my stamp on that.
Heard it here first.
You heard it here, folks. This is where you get the cutting edge news and briefings on what the hell's going on in the world.
And here's the deal. I understand that there are some like dearly held cryptid tropes that we have come across that I go, I don't think that happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I always say it, people get mad. I still have a problem with Patterson Gimlin film. Okay. Just for the simple fact that you hear people talk about it. I look at Patty and I go, I'd have that damn thing in a zoo, like on a long weekend. You know
the Sasquatch or my mother?
Your mother's name is Patty. Both. I'm staying with both. But so everybody's got those things. I'm not saying don't debunk stuff, but use your own critical thought and don't listen to what any of the other like experts are telling you. Do your own research on it, look into it. And guess what? If you think it's right, roll with your gut, man. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're wrong, big deal. You'll be wrong again in the future. You'll learn a little bit from it. You'll have a critical eye going into the next one, but just don't hear, again, getting into the information age too, as real stuff happens, this sort of stuff's going to happen. Yeah. People are going to roll out and tell you you're a fool and an idiot, and this is why you're dumb, and you know, scoff at you, mock you, and then that scorn and derision is going to quiet people down. They're not going to talk about it. And it's weird because I go back and forth sometimes. I go, is this like part of the government cover-up apparatus, or is this just like a-hole human behavior? So they don't even need to cover it up because they know that like internet trolls will do it for them.
Yeah, it's the self-policing. I mean, that was the Soviet Union.
But I'm gonna say this though: if you think that you are making a contribution to the field, sitting at your house and just making fun of people and debunking everything, even if you've got a 75% success rate at debunking stuff, you're doing more harm than good. Thumb down.
Thumbs down.
Thumb down.
Thumbs down on you. You know, when the Soviet Union, that's what they did.
It's communist Russia.
This is communist. Ow. Oh, I just had a big pop in my ear.
All right.
Wait, can I hear? Say something.
Hello.
I can hear.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Hearing has returned.
Or
this is communist Russia got me fired up.
Normally, I would say you've spoken too much and you're starting to get hit with the Havana syndrome weapons, and that's why your hearing is popping.
The communists again have struck.
Yeah, the communists have literally struck. So,
but you know, communist Russia, that's what they did. In the Soviet Union, the government didn't even have to do anything anymore. They got people to police themselves and police them each other.
Is Barton still on here?
I think so.
If Barton's still on here, I'm going to talk about his video that he posted today. Then I had to run out earlier.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your thought.
But when they have you so scared to say something or think something, when they have gotten to the point that you are policing yourself to that degree, when they own your mind, you've lost, friend. So don't let them do that.
Even if you're wrong, do you know what I'm saying? Because I'll say it right now.
It's okay to be wrong.
If I decide I want to believe that aliens invaded the damn mall in Miami, that's what I'm going to do. I don't need somebody who, from friggin' Facebook to tell me that like I'm an idiot and everything like that.
I'll do that.
I have somebody at home that does that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a wife for that.
I don't need some schlub off the internet. But let's talk about this. When Barton posted that video, so we got back in late, and then I saw that he had posted it, and I was trying to like look at it a little bit, just to kind of hear what insight he had onto it, because I know there was some talking. And then I was looking at the comments because the video's done really well. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We'll post a link to it probably in our community page.
Marcus Aurelius is chastising us that we don't need to give this much time to basement dwellers.
But my thing, all right, so I want to say this though, is that you can see the reflection of Letitia's hand in there, I think is what Barton said that they saw. Okay. And if I'm wrong, Barton, correct me in the chat. But I think you said that, hey, you're seeing the hand of Letitia. You were filming the screen. The lady that originally did this is not very technically savvy. Okay. It's not like she's going to go, oh, let me get my computer and I'll download the footage onto an SD card and I'll send it, or I'll use some sort of Dropbox. She's working off a phone. She doesn't own a computer. Okay. So they're doing the best they can with somebody who's not very technologically adept or proficient or has the resources to do anything like that. But what I noticed, Barton, if you're on here, is that when the comments about this is fake and here's why, I see a hand with a phone in there, they all happened in a very short period of time, the majority of them. It's just like bam, 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 bam. And I was like, damn, this looks like a bunch of bots. Like he just got hit with just some bots all posting a variation of the same thing. And then you heard a few other people, but it happened all just in this. And I just went, damn, if I was a conspiracy-minded person, I would say that was just a concerted effort to make people think that Barton's video is fake and to not pay any attention. And you and I haven't even had a chance to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And when I saw that today, I went, damn, if there had been some doubt in my mind that this was real, it just got evaporated right now. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't do that unless you have got some truth to you. They don't waste time and resources on trying to debunk, to really do a big debunking effort on something that's not real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I've got some stuff marked in there if you want to start fling-a-dinging it up.
All right. So Kim Drescher, girl Kim, I wonder, since we've been talking about the phenomenon so much, perhaps it's exposing more. Just a thought. I would say definitely. Jesse's comment is always like, the whole Nietzsche thing, you look into the abyss looks into you. You go looking for this stuff, it's going to look back for you. And I'm starting to come to the opinion that, I don't know how you would describe it, that when you spend a certain amount of time involved with this stuff and thinking about it and putting mental power to it, and then if you have your own experiences, you start to shine to these things. You know what I'm saying? There's a shine to you and they can find you.
The shinin.
Wasn't that from The Simpsons? Groundskeeper Willie? Yeah. The shinin? Oh, it's made a freaking Groundskeeper Willie joke. Awesome. Hell yeah. All right. Shows a success. But no, I agree with you. I think that's exactly what it is. Now Miranda Crew came out, asked, what's your opinion on that? My opinion is it's weirder than hell that all of us have, Jesse and I both looked there and tried to think of ways that it could be faked. It does not have the appearance of AI. It does not have that AI appearance. Now, maybe somebody with a really big budget could have AI'd that. I don't think so. Why are they going to AI that? That's so weird.
Is that a verb now, AI it?
I looked at that and my immediate thing was, this looks like something out of Lord of the freaking Rings, man. I called it a goblin. And just because of the head and it's got that collar on it and everything like that.
It's weird.
I think it's legit. I think it's legit, especially, and again, I watch what I say because I don't know how much of her backstory Barton's revealed yet. But the backstory is that, first off, Barton Lindley ain't nobody's fool, okay? He's been doing this stuff for like a while, and he's talked to a lot of people about it. And he did a very thorough job digging into this, And I don't know what that thing is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that thing is. But there's a there with that.
I still have that HD video that I did some stuff on. I still have that on my computer. I was like, let me look at this real quick. So I closed the curtains, cut all the lights off. I can get that room like blackout when I'm reviewing video and stuff. And I'm looking at it. I called Joe. I was like, man, I just don't know what this is.
I don't know what that is.
I'm looking at it. I'm like,
it does not move naturally. It moves.
And this thing
its movements are so weird, but not AI or animated looking. I'll be honest with you. It looked like something from somewhere else. It looked unnatural to me. It looked unnatural, and it's kind of disturbing the more you watch it because you're just looking at it. It gives you a disturbing feeling.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some more looks.
All right, so Indy Southpaw asked, was there a hole where that tree was pulled from nearby? No. And this guy knows every square inch of his property. and we looked around while we were there. There's nowhere that tree got pulled from. He does not know where that tree got pulled from and brought there. And it's weird. It's not that big, but the trees are arched and woven together. And then there's a pulled tree that has now become like a tent pole in the middle of it. I can't speak as to what it's trying to convey, but I did find the location. Again, I found that location interesting. The location is very interesting to me. Right there at the end of the road. Like, stop, no further. You can't come any further from this. So, all right, let's keep going. So,
oh yeah, where this is? Hang on. I have so many on here. I'm
Deborah
sorry.
Stewart, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, Deborah. That was way back there. I'm so sorry.
We're discombobulated. I've got some work stuff going on, so I've got to run out.
I've got one for that, by the way.
Replace some equipment, and thanks to you guys.
Bristol says, Joe, if work calls again, tell them you are busy, and if they want to talk to you, they can log in and super chat.
Oh,
I think he's tired of hearing me go off on these crazy
rants. Somebody keep Jesse under control. Patty G had posted, do you think they'll be visited by men in MIB? So I'm assuming you're talking about the people that we were with this weekend.
No, I think she's talking about the Miami incident.
I don't know. Well, here's the deal. If you, and again, we're so far behind in it. One of the things I saw, like this guy tweeting, and he didn't really have a lot of other crazy stuff on his Twitter account that I can tell. He was the one that was saying that these things were causing, he goes, yeah, the police scanner went out, the mall power was out, and they had to ground air traffic over the mall. And he goes, they didn't want to, they had to, because these things caused an effect on electrical devices. And then he goes, they weren't attacking people, but they were just looking at you. And he goes, but I can't describe how they were looking at you. It was very disturbing and terrifying. And they would look at you, and then they would kind of blink in and out. You know, they would be here, and then they would blink, and they would be like 20 feet away just staring at you. And he said that when you got out the police corridor, they were grabbing people's cell phones. But he goes, there was nothing on my phone to delete. And I don't know if it meant he didn't film it or his phone had already been wiped somehow mysteriously by whatever these things were supposedly doing. The one guy who originally posted, he had said, I don't have any video. He goes, because I'll be honest with you, I looked at it and my initial thing was, he goes, I'm on social media all the time, was to pull my phone out. And he goes, then when I saw them flicker, he goes, everybody's fight or flight was kicking in. That's why people were pulling guns out and shooting at them. And he goes, I wasn't armed. I flew into Miami. He goes, I couldn't fight, so I just ran. I just ran out at that point.
Yeah, what are you pulling out, your GAT or your Samsung?
So I don't know if they are, I don't know if the MIB has come in or what, but I still say, and Martin Groves had put that on here too, that's how they silence firsthand witnesses, ridicule and debunking. It keeps witnesses silent. And again, this is on a short, let's just be honest, the majority of the communication that happens with this stuff nowadays is on social media.
Yeah.
Right? It's on social media. That's how total strangers can come across one another, people with similar experiences, and share information. So if you shut that social media discourse down,
or muddy the waters to the point that nobody believes anybody.
Yeah. And it gets to that point where but if you silence people and they're afraid to talk because people are going to come out and like laugh at them and it wasn't even laughing, it was very aggressive, and I'm going, I can't tell how much of this is like self-aggrandizement where you just want to make yourself feel important somehow by mocking somebody. I mean, here's the deal.
Hey, you know what?
What's that?
Boo all you want. I've seen what makes you cheer.
What the hell's that from? What the hell's that from? What is that from?
It's true though, isn't it?
Huh?
It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, but what is this? What is that from?
I don't remember. It's something.
Oh.
I didn't come up with that. I'm not that smart.
But they
I exhausted all of my mental energy on the Atlantis connection and the rant previously.
There you go. So but I lost my train of thought after that.
Because you're just so impressed.
I'm so impressed. But it's just so weird that let's just be honest, man. I believe some stuff that y'all all probably think is crazy. And y'all probably believe some stuff that I would look at you and go, really? You believe that?
Joe still believes in Santa Claus.
I still believe in Santa Claus. But I would not like attack somebody like it's like if somebody posts something in the chat that I don't necessarily agree with, again, I'm always just like, cool, follow that lead. I ain't gonna follow it. We need everybody following as many leads as they possibly can, not shutting people up or shutting people down for stuff like this, man. So
It's a Rick and Morty meme. Or it's a screen grab from a Rick and Morty. It's a meme. So your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
here's the other thing too that I'm gonna get. Let me catch up with what with the chat here, because here's my other thing that goes hand in hand with this stuff. It happened right afterward. And I'm going to nerd out and try not to chase everybody off, but it's something that if you're interested in this sort of stuff, there are a couple people we've mentioned, like on interviews that we do sometimes and on this show, one of which is Bernardo Castro. He is a guy who he's got twin doctorates. He has a doctorate in computer programming and a doctorate in philosophy. He's worked on CERN, all of this crazy stuff. He is he's an idealist. I mean, not meaning that he's got these like lofty goals and beliefs and everything like that, but he believes that consciousness is like the root of like reality. Okay. That basically consciousness is not, we have some like meat in our heads and there's a small electrical impulse that goes through it and bam, there's consciousness. He thinks that consciousness is universal, whether we're here or not, it exists. Okay. So he's an extremely theoretically intelligent guy. All right. So he released an article this past week talking about the UAP phenomenon. Okay. Non-human intelligences, and how he goes, I'm just going to approach this from like a scientific standpoint and talk to you about what I'm thinking about it. And he proceeds to do this insanely well thought out, fairly brief, it's like under 7,000 words, article on the UAP phenomenon, okay, non-human intelligences, and how it's not that crazy, and how it's, if you think about it logically, the logical explanation for this is the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis, stuff that's from here.
Yeah.
And he takes through his thought process for it. Again, this is a guy who basically just sits in a room and thinks all day long, does a lot of like thought experiments and everything like that. He's probably one of the greatest thinkers of our age right now. And he's going, I've thought about this. Let me take you through my thought process on it. So he talks about how the Earth's 4 billion years old, give or take, 4.5.
Allegedly.
Like okay. So mankind has been around for a blip of that. And that he's going, it's not outside the realm of possibility that other intelligent civilizations that are not humans, that are some other species, have risen and fallen on Earth before. Okay. And you always hear these things going, well, where's the evidence? We should see mines. We should see their refuse, plastics, this and that. And he goes, a couple million years back, all that would have been gone. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Earth's crust constantly revolving, you know, things get buried. That's why when they do archaeological digs, stuff that used to be on the ground is now under the ground. And he goes, give it a few million years and ain't nothing going to be in the left. Okay. Millions of years, not 100,000, not 500,000, a few million years. And he was going, the only thing that he thought of that it would have to be young enough that if their technology followed anything like ours did, they would need like fuel. Okay. Like, or, you know, hydrocarbon fuel and everything like that. So that's obviously from 350 million years ago. So it'd have to be after that. But he was like 10 million years, doesn't matter what they put up. They could have tried to leave something up and it would have been gone, just erased by time. Okay. And he goes, so let's say they got pretty advanced.
Tears in the rain.
They got pretty advanced. Something cataclysmic happened. There were a few survivors. They went underground. He goes, we're probably 20 years away from having very small, very clean nuclear reactors. You know what I'm saying? You know, 3D printing stuff is going to become more and more widespread. He goes, the portability and the access to technology is just going to get better and better over time. He goes, so it's not outside the realm of possibility that a very small surviving population went underground, went into the ocean. They've got enough technology to keep going. And he goes, they were enough to keep going, but they had been knocked off. And then by the time they were starting to kind of get back on, humanity had come along. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's thinking his way through all of this stuff. And I'm reading it and I'm reading his arguments for why some of this stuff could have happened. And I'm going, not the pre-existing civilizations, although you could make that argument, but a lot of the arguments that he made, I'm going, damn, all of this stuff translates almost to any sort of like weirdness that you talk about, Bigfoot, anything like that, how it could stay hidden, what might be going on. You might be dealing with something. He started talking about how the way that that there were two phenomena that were going on, the nuts and bolts craft, okay, the ships that we supposedly, the US government has, the bodies, all of that. And then he goes in the high strangeness factor that you don't really get photos of. And if you do, they're blurry or they're out of focus or anything like that. The stuff that seems like almost like the Jungian archetypes that you always hear about, okay? And he starts going into how a species that we don't really have anything in common with would try to communicate with us. And they would probably, if they had access to our, to be able to hook up with us mentally, they would speak in very broad terms, almost like a dream. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be able to say, "Hey, Jesse, hi, my name's Gary,
alien,
the antediluvian, remnant of a previous advanced civilization." They would have to speak to you in like metaphor, analogy, example, all of this stuff. And I'm thinking they're going, damn, a lot of this sounds like mind speak that people report at that point. Okay.
Today, not today, actually, interjects here. Hey, Joe, they calculated how far back in history you'd have to go to find the origin of evolution, and it predated the Big Bang.
Yeah. So
you are on the right track.
So, but here's my thing is that what's even really interesting, a little side note about this, the picture that he put up for this article he wrote was a praying mantis. And he talks about, well, let's just say that these were prehistoric mantises, praying mantises that got to be intelligent. How would you communicate with something like that? He mentions praying mantises like 3 or 4 times throughout the article, and he's got that. And I'm going, is he telling us that he thinks there's like mantis creatures? You always hear about the mantis aliens. And one of the things you see sometimes is the people that are like insanely intelligent, like genius level intelligence. When they're trying to talk to normal people, they think we're dumber than we actually are, and we are by comparison to them. Sometimes they're a little heavy-handed with stuff because they are trying to get the point across to imbeciles, basically, I think. And I'm going, I think that's why he keeps mentioning mantises. He doesn't want to come out and say it, but that's a lot of mantis talk for like an article here. So that's interesting, and it's cool. And if you're into this sort of stuff, check it out. But the thing is that this is one of the smartest people on the planet sitting here telling me, well, it's logical that there could have been a race before humanity, and there might have happened a couple of times. It doesn't just happen once. If it happened once, it could happen 10 times. And maybe that's the cause of a lot of stuff we're seeing. Maybe the different phenomenon we see are different civilizations that have risen, and now you're just seeing the remnants of it. Okay.
Rev and Not Today are really getting deep here. Nothing ever began, nothing ever ends.
Exactly. But my thing is this: it's one of the smartest people on the planet telling me this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, and I've got like these jackballs on Facebook telling people that they're idiots for even entertaining the Miami thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going, the smartest people that are out there right now are starting to go, the world's a lot weirder than what we
There's a there there.
There's a there there. The world's a lot weirder than we originally thought, guys. Everybody's, and the thing that's also getting peppered on a lot is people keep, and it's funny because they don't really know the terminology, but they'll go, these cryptoid creatures, and they keep mentioning those a lot. Like people look into these cryptoid creatures, and that might have something to do with this. Sounds like there's a there there. Sounds like they're now starting to realize, hey, all of these Bigfoot stories, these Bigfoot encounters, these are not crazy people. Just like these like UFO witnesses, we're not crazy people. There's a there there. So check that article out if you get a chance, man. But it's people are starting to come around to like all of our way of thinking. So
people are waking up.
Very, very smart people.
Paul Puglia, Jesse and Joe, did you have a knife check today? I hate to turn on a dime here.
Turn on a dime. I'm carrying a Microtech that our boy Denim Devil gave me. I think I've shown that one before, but serrated on one side. I haven't been carrying a lot. You can tell I'm struggling with the switch because it's got a.
That's because you don't have as smooth as butter. Joe got me this knife for my birthday. It's a Heretic Knives Manticore E. It's got a carbon fiber scale on one side, and that's an out the front too. Look at that. It's a tiny little Bowie. Isn't that cool? And then it's serrated, and it's an out the front automatic, but it's a lot smoother than the Microtechs. My hand looks huge. Look at that. Look, I look like I have
giant hands.
It's like the Seinfeld episode. I need to like have a lobster just breaking it.
Dead in Yard Hunt sent for a blue stripe to match Jesse's werewolf mask. I was out. Were they all talking about your hair? How many times did you get called Joan Jett?
I don't think anybody called me drunk yet.
Somebody
I
has.
lost a lot of the chat because I'm sitting here ranting.
I know. Yeah.
I was ranting a lot. I was doing a fair amount of ranting. So,
Christopher Lundberg has a thing here too. The
Things
government's
are said.
gaslighting people into thinking that UAPs, cryptids, and even the devil does not exist. And people think the government frowns on, and people, they go with it. It's that. And then I wonder how many of these people are just, maybe they're subtly encouraged, or maybe they don't need any encouragement. Maybe they just get off on like dogging people. I'm just watching it and I'm going, these are people that are just very aggressive. And I'm going, why are you so aggressive? If somebody wants to think aliens landed, and you might just go, I don't think that happened, but why is it necessary to take time out of your day to start attacking people?
You must believe me and change your beliefs.
And then you go, well, nobody takes this seriously. And I'm going, well, yeah, because you chased off all the people that took it seriously by acting like an asshole. Sorry, didn't mean to curse.
I said shit.
An a-hole. So
I said shit.
Oh, Jesus.
I did.
All right.
I did. This has been a great show.
I think we've returned in a big way. Chat's on freaking fire.
Chat
man.
is on fire.
Hey, we miss being with you guys. You
Yeah.
told them while we took the Christmas show down too, right? For those who weren't there.
No, I never mentioned that. We were going to do an out of sight, out of the mind situation, but now you've ruined that.
So.
Good job, Joe. Doing a great job. I didn't burn anything today, so.
Anyway. But so yeah, we figured I know that's kind of running theme on the show, but if you're ever discussing something publicly online and somebody just rolls in just being a jackball, just kind of go almost like they want to shut me up here about it. You know what I'm saying? And I hear some crazy theories.
Are you a government plant? Are you a shill?
I hear some crazy stuff that I will go, there's no way in hell that's true. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? I'm not there. That's my opinion. I can't. And people always go, that's like debunked, loser. And I'm going, just because some rando online said that it's debunked doesn't mean it's debunked. Here's debunked to me. Okay. Here's debunked. I was sitting at the coffee shop on the corner of Elm and Main. And, it was crazy. These guys came in, they were black suits, they sunglasses. They drugged me out of the coffee shop. They threw me in the back of the car. Took me off. The sunglasses came off. They had all black eyes. Tell you this crazy story. And then you go, all right. And then you go and you look, and there's no coffee shop on the corner of like Elm and Main. You know what I'm saying? And then you go, where were you at again? I was at that coffee shop on the corner of Elm and Main. There's no coffee shop there. And they go, oh shit. And then they run. You know what I'm saying? That's debunked. I just debunked that story. You know what I'm saying? And then you go, hey, you guys know so-and-so? He says there was a coffee shop here. No, sir. There's been a bank here for the last 30 years. No coffee shop here. Something where you flat out go.
These analogies always have a bank involved.
They do always have a bank involved. But that's a concrete thing going, all right, this story probably did not happen. You know what I'm saying? This story does not seem like it happened. Something like that, is debunking. Just somebody giving you their opinion on why they don't think it's real is not debunking anything at all. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. What do we got?
I don't know what this means, but I like it. Helmet holler, Donald Trump, 2024, North Alabama. I don't know.
Good Lord. All right, so freaking
corn dogs,
Lady
2
Wolf,
for 1.
Great job on the Christmas show. For those of you who weren't on the Christmas show, I'm just gonna say it. We started the Christmas show. We set up our podcast studio in our living room next to where all of our Christmas decorations were. We were going to do this show, and we were trying out our brand new wireless mics,
our lavalier
mics. And Jesse was cooking Christmas dinner, and she's making a Christmas lasagna, and it bubbled over and started smoking. So all the smoke detectors went off in the house. So she keeps talking, and I run, and I'm trying to get the thing out of the oven, and it wasn't that much. Some of it bubbled over, hit the bottom of the stove, but I'm trying to jump up and pull smoke detectors down, and I'm cussing up a storm. And then I go, oh God, I've still got my lavalier mic on. So I did not want a Christmas show that consisted of me dropping like all these F-bombs on
Everybody thought it was funny.
I know, but still, I didn't want a Christmas show up on there. So
and then you got back on the show, and you were acting like
I didn't want to talk at that point. I was frustrated.
You were mad, and everybody knew that you were mad, but you were acting like my lasagna was this hunk of coal sitting in the oven. So I had to post photos of my Christmas lasagna
to prove.
I mean, I'm the one who should have been embarrassed because you come trashing my lasagna, talking about lasagna is basically just this chunk of rock, this coal that is burnt to a crisp in the oven, and it truly was not. It was just a little bit of overflow. So let's chew on that one.
Chew on that one. So
I talked about Art Bell and the quickening and how that relates to what we're doing, but I think that Art thought that it was going to happen a lot quicker than
Art thought it was happening back then, man. So I thought it was happening back then.
Now I did mark something from Not Today Saban that kind of did I mark it? Here we are. Hang on. No. Yes. Here we go.
I just like this one, orchestrated campaign with the mall haters. So.
It's the final nail in the coffin of the mall. Not Today Saban earlier said, so can you pronounce that? Apophis?
Apophis.
Yeah. Projected to hit Earth 2036 or 2068. NASA says no, but there's no calculation of the gravitational keyhole. Might explain an uptick in events.
There's a thing going around that, and again, we talk about like UAPs and UFOs a lot. Just because that's kind of in the public eye right now. And there's a lot of like legit brain power. Some very intelligent people are involved in that now. It's not on the fringes anymore. And there's so many parallels that I think now are starting, people are connecting the dots. You've got, scientists who are involved with UAPs starting to talk about those cryptoid creatures. But there's some talk about a UAP, an upcoming UAP event that they're trying to get ready for. And one of the dates that they've thrown around is 2035, 2036, that there's something that they're getting ready for that they can't control, so that they're doing a slow roll disclosure to kind of start getting people ready for it. So
who doesn't want burnt lasagna and cursing on Christmas?
Man, I was going up a storm. So all right.
Lasagna spaghetti cake. All right, I'm gonna do a last call. It's 9:19. Because I gotta make dinner and definitely not burn it because I never burned dinner. I gotta make dinner and we've got a lot of work to do. I've got a video I should be releasing this week for everybody. Speaking of burned things, it's we go into an area that seems like it was touched by a wildfire and go and explore that. And so that should be out this week. And we were just so excited to get on here and kind of talk about our scouting adventure this week with the Witness. We had such a great time, and I'm so excited about what we're going to find there and what we're going to experience there. I'm going to try to isolate some of that audio and maybe share that in a short video on the channel as well. But yeah, I mean, we've had a whirlwind.
Christ. No better than to trash your woman's lasagna.
You should.
Anyway, I was frustrated. I couldn't get the smoke detectors down, and then I realized I had the mic on, and I was just like, "Oh God." Our boy Grizz sounds like the old man from the Christmas Story movie arguing with the heater.
That's what a couple of people said. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming back after we were gone and dying. My hearing's gone again.
Our upcoming stuff is that we have got. So the area we live streamed from that night that we heard about the hunter getting chased out of.
Oh yeah, okay.
So and we were down there going, God, you can hear like vehicles from because it was really quiet, like 10 miles away. You can hear like a road. I thought it was closer. It's a ways away, and I'm going. You usually can't hear like traffic where we're at. This is kind of like. We could walk that direction and get help if we needed to. It's just weird that we're there investigating weird activity when there's like stuff fairly close by. Well, we've gotten another possible story from that area.
Yeah.
That we can't go into detail.
That goes right in line.
Goes right in line with it. Right in line with it. Crazy story in that area. So you're probably going to see us back in that area again. I don't know if we're going to be able to get either one of the current gentleman to speak online, but
we're going to try to get at least one of the witnesses.
Get both of them. Be awesome.
That'd be great.
But so you're going to probably see us do a live from there over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And we've got to do some equipment upkeep because I don't even know what all digital recorders we lost either too, because those things are pretty water
There was
resistant.
so much water
in
in the
friggin'
air
So
that, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I looked into this thing and I
Yeah.
saw just monster water droplets on the inside of the
Yeah.
lens. I mean, it got waterlogged. But I mean, we've not used that bad boy in a couple of months. But
I function test it usually every 2 or 3 weeks. So.
because I've been using the AGM all the
Yeah,
time.
but still, we busted this out because it's close range. And
Joe works in profanity like an artist works in oils and clay.
All right, so.
All right,
and
guys.
we've got the Discord too. When we started the Discord out, we were a little lax because we were caught off guard by how popular the Discord was, and we were trying to juggle field investigations and that. But we're back in the Discord now.
Yeah,
so
if you're a member, you have access to that Discord.
Get on in there.
There is a members community post with a link to it, and I'll actually put that link up again for any new members to come over there and join the Discord, and we can have chats all the time. And we kind of throw around some ideas, and I'll be previewing some stuff over there, and kind of, you know, we kind of hash out some stuff over there, which is really cool.
Laughing Beast, we're going to get back in touch with that witness as well. And
now that we're out of hunting season,
now that we're out of hunting season, we're going to be, because there apparently once upon a time there were poachers down there, and then the poachers stopped going for some reason. But if there's a chance, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't want to get shot.
Anyway, so all right, guys, I think we're done. Thank you guys for joining us. I know we're
Patty G asked if I put it in a bag of rice like they do with cell phones. I'll give it a try.
Grace, thank you so much for that. Good job tonight, Joe.
Thank you, Grace.
Sorry we were in and out, but it sounds like the show went awesome. Probably not as good as if I had been here the whole time, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But
man's got to work.
Man's got to work. So, all right, guys, I think that is it. Keep your notifications on. If we end up, we did a poll for the members asking what they wanted to see, and by far the most popular option was live on-site investigations.
Yes.
So we're going to try to deliver to that, and that's why I mentioned.
You ask and you shall receive. I'm going to have to just say this. This is a very huge compliment. Jesse, when you were telling about your overflow lasagna and your hand was in the air, you reminded me of a very young Sophia Loren. You like that?
All right.
All right, guys.
I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done. You guys have an awesome week. Go out there, look into some cool, weird stuff, report back to us. We've got a lot of work to do. We are firing on all cylinders. We're so excited about 2024.
Yep.
We've got some crazy expeditions planned for this year. We cannot wait to share with you guys. We're going to be hitting the road some this year as well. Also Small Town Monsters, the Land Between the Lakes documentary. There should be a preview out for that February 1st, I believe. So keep an eye out for that, because the dynamic duo here should be featured in that as well as our friend Martin Groves. So thank you guys so much. We love and adore you all. Welcome back. And I hope you guys are starting out your 2024 awesome.
Yeah.
Don't let the haters get you down.
Yeah, if you guys want to, and like I said, start lashing back.
Yeah.
Start lashing
back at them.
Lash back at them. So.
Give them the what for. You know what I told Joe, and Joe thought it was kind of profound. People have been so kind to these people that it's allowed them to be unkind.
Yeah, you
to
get
others.
these people, because this is gonna be very ungracious to say, but I looked at it and I was going, let's end on this very positive note, shall we? Looking at certain people, and I go, you've probably, through maybe no fault of your own, I don't know, you've probably never been in a position in your life to really mock people or be cruel to people or anything like that. Quite honestly, some of these people were probably people that I would have stolen their lunch money in school. See what I'm saying? I was a bad kid.
You were still a bad kid.
Bad kid. So, and I'm going, now you're in a position where you, at least because you spend time in it, maybe you've got some position of you get people's attention or whatnot, and you use that just to be like an asshole. Like, who does this? You know what I'm saying? Who does this? So
who hurt you? All right.
Who hurt you?
We're getting off.
Who hurt you back then?
Right.
Who hurt
Bye,
you?
guys. Thank you. Y'all rock. Hellbent Holler out.
Yep. We're out. We
Bye.
will see you guys possibly this weekend, depending.
Notifications on.
Notifications on.
Bye.